So, hello there. This is the second channel. This is Jazz Culture Stories. And so basically, channel is going to be stories that happen in my life, basically. So if something happens at school, I'll switch the names up of the people and not give too many personal details and tell y'all a story. You know, this channel is going to be more like a scrubby Cyrus Benji type channel, so y'all probably don't know who any three of those YouTubers are, but yeah. So basically, this is story number one, the way I got silently rejected. So let's get into it. And so basically, it all started basically last year. So last year we had this jamboree for bands, and so there's a lot of stuff that went on, and long story short, sorry, this was like a year ago at this point. I'm trying to remember. So long story short, after the performance, it rained that year, so we didn't do much. But after the performance, there were some people talking bad about this person, and I brought it up to this person, and they cut me off, basically. And they didn't let me like say what I wanted to say fully, so they got half of the picture, ran off, got their friends wanted to talk to me, like, why would you say something? So I was like mad pretty much the whole year. It wasn't a good situation for anybody, and so that was just like a background type thing. And so I guess I'll go into like this year. So basically, the end of September, foolishly did one of the dumbest things you could possibly do at this point in high school. I wrote a letter to this girl trying to apologize, and I was like, I'm sorry about what I said. I didn't mean it. I wasn't the person who was like thinking that anyway. I was thinking the exact opposite, you know. Like they were saying, who would date you? And I was like, I would, you know. But she didn't know that because she cut me off and ran off. So, you know, and so basically, I wrote the letter to her, and so she was like, thank you. This was like 3 days after I had given her the letter. Like, so we have these cubbies in our band room. So if you go to Dutch Town, you know what I'm talking about. So we have those cubbies. I slid it in the back of her cubby. I just threw it in there, and then I was like, wait, did I throw it to the back of the cubby? And then she walked in the band room, and I was like, you know what? I don't even have time to change anything. So I just walked off. And so I did that on Wednesday, like the beginning of October. Friday, we had a practice, and at the end of the practice, she came up to me and was like, thank you for the letter. And I don't know if she started reading it then, because I like had to like walk off and get to the parking lot. And so the next week, I let a week pass, no response from her. We had 3 practices that week, and so I was kind of like, that's weird, you know, like we kind of like are in the same section, but you haven't talked to me about it. So I was a little confused. And then so Thursday, I shoot a text to my friend. So this is the first name I'm gonna mix up. So basically, I shoot letter to my friend. Let's go with Marcus. Yeah, Marcus. So I'm like, Marcus, yo, can you like find out if second name twist, Abby? Yo, Marcus, can you figure out if Abby's interested in me or anything? And he's like, yeah, sure, man. And so I go to sleep, and I can't hear any notifications because I go into a deep sleep after a long, stressful day. And so basically, I was sleeping, woke up at 6. I was like, it's gonna be a great day, you know? And so there's a tagline that our announcer says every morning that I was actually believing. And then I opened Snapchat, and the first one was like that. I opened some streaks, sent some streaks. I was like, it's gonna be a good day. And then I opened the Snapchat from Marcus, and he was like, yo, it's not looking good, man. And I was like, oh no. And so this was like the beginning of the passage, and it was like, yeah, I talked to her in 8th hour, and she was like, I don't know how to tell him that I'm not interested, and I don't know if I'm gonna tell him. And then I stopped there, and I was like, I started pacing. I was like, it's been a whole week, that's a long time, read the rest, and it was like, so she was like, I don't know how to bring it up to him. I don't know if I can bring it up to him. We'll have to see later. And I was like, okay, that was a devastating time. And then we had another Friday practice that week. And so that practice, so this is where it gets into the background of like my band. And so we have section leaders for each section. So I'm a baritone player. So basically a baritone is like a small tuba, looks like a big trumpet in concerts. In marching season, concert season looks like a small tuba. And so that's basically what I play. And so there's 6 of us that march. There's 9 of us in total. And so there's 6. And so our section leader, who I'm going to name Malachi, had to leave early because he had to go help his mom with something. And so Malachi leaves, and I'm like, okay. So basically, quote unquote, I'm like, okay, we gotta step it up. Malachi's gone. And nobody responds except like, okay, I'm mixing up a lot of names. So I'm gonna go with Tyler and telling you I'm mixing up names now. Oh shoot. Okay, let's just go with Tyler. Okay, so Tyler and then a couple people respond, and I'm like, okay. And so practice starts. We're going to the football field because it's closer to one of our it's closer to Bambury, I think. And so we're marching, and so second movement, I'm 3.5 steps off the visitor hash or something. And so I mark it off, right? And then this is such a nitpicky thing, but I feel like it was just, I wasn't previously before Malachi left, I was like, I don't want to be here. There's some people who are messing with my feelings, and he's like, you can leave if you want. I'm like, no, I'll leave. I got a starting spot in one of the best bands you could be in. And so mark off 3.5 steps, because obviously if I know how to mark off 3.5 steps, I'm in the starting lineup. If I don't, then I'm probably not, and I'm in the starting lineup. So I mark off 3.5, and Abby basically is like, oh no, that's wrong. And I'm like, excuse me, I don't think it is. I just marked it off. And she's like, move out the way, let me mark it off. Marks it off to the same, well, not the same exact spot, but pretty close. My feet were bigger than hers, obviously, so they weren't in the same spot. But she moved me off my spot, marked it off, and I was like, that's exactly where I was. And she was like, no, walked off. That was pretty much the biggest thing that happened, from that day. And so practice was not good after that. I was marching super good. I was playing loud, with a good tone. Band players, obviously. And I was talking to my friends on the sideline. I was talking to just gonna go with Michael and Brian, one of my best trombone friends, and I was like, this isn't right. I'm tired of my section. My section was the baritones, we won't, since Malachi was gone, we weren't doing as good as we would if Malachi was there. And so basically I'm like mad, but I can't like, I was at the water break, I was like, yo, we need to step it up. Nobody listened. And I was devastated because in the end of the day, I'm literally sixth in line for section leader right now. Like, I'm not that good when it comes to baritones in our school. And so anything I say would go right over their heads, especially since I just wrote a letter to one of them and they straight up ghosted me. Even though we marched right next to each other, and half of that doesn't work. But so I was keeping, Michael and Brian posted each water break. Got like 3, and so I was like, yeah, it's not looking good. And they're like, it's not that big of a deal, I was like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I understand. Like, nobody really wants to be here. Like, it's one of those Friday practices where nobody knows unless you studied the calendar, It's one of those Friday practices that Thursday at school they're like, remember we have a Friday practice, And so practice ends, walk up to the parking lot, and I'm just talking to Michael and Brian. I'm like, it was just a bad day today, I just want to go home and just record YouTube, and I did. It was a bad video, so I didn't put it up on the main channel. And so that's basically part 1 of I wrote a letter to a girl and got ghosted for most of a month. It's literally been a month. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all I can recall from, part 1. So I'll put it up 3 videos, but I'll probably put them up at the same time, I'll see. This is 12 minutes, so I'm going to add gameplay for it. I'm going to add some music, intro and outro. No intro and outro. I don't have one on the ready yet. I will for future videos. And so, this is Jazz Culture Stories. Signing off, and have a good one.